What's up, everybody? Welcome to Passive Money. This is Alex. I'm Kirby, Detroit. Uh, we just, normal guys, just, showing people how to make their way through the financial journey to better themselves financially. Today, we're going to go over a scenario about how to buy a home. I know a lot of first-time home buyers out there or first-time investors out there, and you just don't know what to ask when you contact the realtor and what to say, what questions to ask, what questions not to ask, and how to navigate that whole scenario where you're trying to find the best deal for you, but not trying to alienate the seller to not tell you the home because you're asking for ridiculous low prices. So in this scenario, we're going to go over it. Alex will be the seller, I will be a buyer, and we're just going to go through scenarios and show you what information you need to gather so you can calculate and computate what is best for you and if this situation or if this property is in your best needs.
All right, yeah. So with all of that, Kirby has great experience in real estate, and I'm still trying to learn. So this is gonna be a coaching lesson for me as well as for you guys. So I will have a scenario of me selling a property to Kirby. He's gonna ask all the good questions that you guys need to keep in mind.
Okay, I'm traveling through the Zillow, the MLS, and looking at a property, and I came across a property that I'm very interested about. So what I'm gonna do is call up the seller and see what kind of information that I'm gonna get. So I'm gonna call up the seller's agent. And in Zillow, you can find the seller's agent number there, or you can talk to your own real estate agent, and then that real estate agent, the buyer's agent, will talk to the seller's agent, and then you can get information like that. Either way is best for you. Or sometimes you might see a for sale by owner out there, and you could just talk directly to the seller. In this situation, we're just gonna act like that Alex is the seller, I'm the buyer. No matter if we're agents or I'm talking to the seller's agent, or the questions you would ask your buyer's agent to ask the seller's agent. But these are some important questions you will ask. So with that being said, let's get started. So, hi sir, I seen your property at 2505 Albany Road. I was just wondering, is it still up for sale?
Yes, it is still up for sale.
Okay, what is the asking price you're looking for on that property?
189,000.
And as you see, I'm writing it down because this is information that will go great into your financial matrix to see if it can even fit what you're looking for. Okay, so 189,000. So is this right now owner occupied, or do you have tenants in there renting it out?
Owner occupied.
Owner occupied. All right. So one thing that's going to give you some insight on this is owner occupied. Usually the seller, if it's owner occupied, they will be more emotionally attached to a house, especially if their family lived in a house. So the manipulation of price depending on how many days on market it is. And if you're looking at Zillow or the MLS, it'll tell you how many days on market it is. So if a property just got on market, let's say in 2 to 5 days, then trying to negotiate price with an owner that family's probably still in the house and they probably is not going to move until they sell the house. And you need to find out what situation they're in. Are they married to the house, or they're looking to sell the house to move on? So once I found out that it's owner occupied, the next question I would ask is, so tell me the story about the house.
So
Why you want to sell it?
So the family has a long history with the house, but now the owners have gotten older, the kids have moved out, and they're simply looking to sell the house and move to a different location out of town.
Okay, they're looking to move out. Are they in a hurry to move to the location, or they're waiting for the right price? What are they looking
They're in a hurry to move.
for? Okay, they're in a hurry to move. Okay, so they're looking for a fast closing as fast as possible, 30, 45 days or less, correct?
Correct.
And as you see, I'm pausing. The only reason why I'm pausing in this video is to actually write it down to show you the gaps between the conversation. Okay, so what's the age of the roof on this property?
Okay, the age of the roof is 12 years.
The reason why you ask them for the age of the roof of the property, because if you're buying a property and let's say the roof is, let's say it's 30-year shingles on the property and the roof is 25 years old, you already as a buyer know that is an expense that you're immediately going to have to take on. Immediately meaning the seller could probably say, oh, well, yeah, it's 20 years old, 25 years old, but we haven't had any problems with the roof. That's fine and dandy. But the problem is once you acquire the house and then call the insurance company to put insurance on the house, the insurance company is probably going to do a 4-point inspection on the property before they insure you. And I know that's a big thing they do here in Florida. And then they point out the things that you need to get done ASAP. They may give you a year's time max to fix all the things that they say that needs to be fixed, like roofs, like air conditioning, like hot water tanks, things like that. So 12 years, we're still in a sweet spot, 30, we thinking of 30-year shingles on there. 12 years, we're still in a sweet spot. We still got a little time, 10 years or so before it becomes a danger area. But 12 years, depending on your location, in a place like Florida, 12 years, it start getting a little age because hurricane season and all that, the roof takes a little more damage. But depending on where you're at in the world, 12-year roof is pretty much fine. That's not an expense that is going to come up right when you close on the property. All right. The air conditioner units or the furnace, do you know how those are?
3 years.
Okay. 3 years. All right, for AC units, 3 years is not bad. Usually AC units give you about 10 to 15 years shelf life, depending on how hard the actual tenant or the people that's using it, how hard they drive the units. Are they doing proper maintenance on there? Changing the air filters, cleaning out the traps and all that other stuff that goes along with proper maintenance of an AC unit. But 3 years is pretty brand new, so that's not an expense that you will have to take on. All right, so then the next one you want to go to is things like water heater. What you're aiming for and what you're shooting for, you're trying to find out the shelf life of the big ticket items. And when you're buying a home, the big ticket items is roof, air conditioning, and hot water tank. Those are the big ticket items right off the bat. And those are the numbers you need to know no matter what, before you even if you don't have, and I'm using Florida prices here, so bear with me. If you don't have $15,000 to $20,000 to repair a roof, you don't want to be buying a house that got a 22-year roof on the top of it, because that's how much roofs cost these days, and probably more. So, and then you don't want to be buying, if you don't have the extra, after you put the down payment and everything on there, if you don't have the extra $5,000 to $7,000 to replace the air conditioning unit, you don't want to be buying a house, the air conditioning unit that's about 10 or 15 years. Now, of course, the numbers that the seller is giving me now, or Alex is giving me now, are numbers that, of course, you're going to get them verified through the inspection. Always, always, always get an inspection. You get it verified through the inspection. But with these quick questions, if you can proceed further in this property, or just check it off your list and say, no, I don't even want nothing to do with it. If the owner knows how long a roof's been on. Now, they might be fudgy on the numbers with furnace and hot water tank, but a roof, because it's a big ticket item, they'll know about that. So if it's a dated roof on there, or you don't have the money to replace it, or if you can't talk them down on the price, this is one that you could just completely check off your list, because you're going to need that $20,000, depending on the size of the house, to replace a roof. So that's just the understanding there. All right, so, and then you repeat everything back to the seller, of the big ticket items and everything that you asked them about the house, just to make sure that we got understanding. So the sale price is $189,000, right?
Correct.
And the sellers, they empty nesters, kids that moved out, and they're looking to downsize and move to a new location.
Correct.
All right. Before I continue, how long have they lived in the house?
35 years.
All right, 35 years. So they know everything about the house, the neighborhood, and everything else, right?
Yes.
All right, cool. And then you're looking for that 30 to 45 day close or less.
Yes.
Okay, looking for that speedy close. And then the roof, like you said, 12 years old. AC unit is about 3 years old. And the hot water tank, how long has it been since you changed the hot water tank?
2 years.
2 years. Okay. So the last question you want to ask them, and now just still in this conversation, you don't have to hang up the phone. They looking for a speedy close. So the next question you could ask is, so the sale price is $189,000. Is there any wiggle room with the price? Is there a number that the seller will come down to where we can hurry up and get this done quickly, or is 189 they're steadfast stuck at that price?
They're willing to come down to 180.
They're willing to come down to 180. Okay. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to run my numbers and see how it fits, and then if everything checks out, then I'll be reaching out to you with a contract offer to put a bid on this property, and we'll see. Hopefully, we can get this closed within their timeline. That was a quick phone call, quick conversation, but those items right there that I just checked off are huge in trying to figure out if the property even fits in your matrix. You don't have to sit there and go look at every house, every house, every house. First, do a little conversation over the phone to save you time, money, especially with these high gas prices. Get all the prerequisite questions out the way before you even go visit. Then the next thing you would do, if let's say this property that Alex is selling is it meets everything in your financial matrix, it checks off every box that you have. Then the next thing you want to do is drive the neighborhood. You drive the neighborhood during the daytime to see what the area is like, and then you drive the neighborhood again at nighttime to see what the area is like. Don't want to start the day and in the morning it looks good, look like Mayberry, and then you come back and it look like a scene straight out of Compton. So that's why you drive the neighborhood to see what it's like. Doing your research, your due diligence to see what situation you might be getting into. And then after you do that research, then you will go on to walk through of the house, look and see everything, make sure the finishes, the aesthetics, and everything else falls under what you're looking for. And then after that, then you will put in an offer. And one caveat to that, I know a lot of listings that people see online now, you got to put in an offer before you do the walkthrough. Some are doing that, some are not. But if everything else, you ride through the neighborhood and everything looks good, and you put in an offer, remember you're not married to that offer. But you put in an offer after you do the walkthrough or before you do the walkthrough, whichever. It depends on how the listing agent or how the seller is doing it. And then, so you do the walkthrough, check everything, and then let's say you fall in love with the house. You should never fall in love with the house, but let's say you like the house a lot and you wanted to move forward. And then you put in your contract offer for the house. You put in the contract offer, and then the next thing you should do, even if your finance company don't require it, most do, some don't. What you need to do is get an inspection. Get an inspection first to confirm that the roof is fall within that 12-year window. The AC unit, the hot water tank, make sure the electrical is done correctly, make sure the foundation is sound. All these, and the reason why I didn't ask about the foundation with the homeowner, because most people don't know about the foundation. So that's why you hire an inspector. Make sure there's no lead pipe, lead paint. All that stuff will get done with a good company that does a 4-point inspection. So you get all that information. And then when you're drawing up the contract, and we're not gonna go through the whole drawing up the contract, but when you going through the contract and you probably thinking, oh well, I put in the contract and I paid this earnest money, that mean I have to buy the house. No, it don't. You have a 15, you put whatever number you want there, but you can have a 15 to 20 day due diligence period. Anytime in that due diligence period, you find something wrong with the house that can't be fixed before the closing of the house, or it's too big of an issue that you don't want to deal with as a new homeowner, then you can bail out on the deal, and then you can get your earnest money back. So those are the things that you need to know. First time home buyers starting out, and then when you get more advanced, there's other stuff to go along with it. But just buying a house that's owner occupied, those are simple steps. Now, Alex, what you got on that?
I'm still learning how to do all that because I know that like the property that I'm looking at right now, I thought I basically thought like if you tell a realtor that you're interested in the property or the selling agent that you're interested, you're like almost enclosed in this deal. So I didn't know you could just like tell them nah, thank you, but like get the experience and the hands on with actually looking at properties and such. So that's coming new to me. Um, but I'm learning that from your behalf as far as you don't have to commit to anything. Don't fall in love with the property. And especially that too, because as a first time home buyer for, even for if you're buying your own house, but like, especially if it's going to be your first rental property, it's almost like, oh, I'm about to be a landlord. Like, so not getting emotional in that is very important, and learning how to communicate with them and not being, uh, not looking at it how can I put it, like they are almost like the way it is, like at least for me, is like almost like they know what they're doing more than I do, and that's how it feels like. So it's like a very kind of different area for me in communicating with a seller, because maybe you may think that since they're a realtor, they've been in the game longer, that they know more than you, and then they'll realize that you're just a beginner and you don't know anything. But at the same time, as I've learned from you, like investors are different than realtors, and especially like we talked about, like you can't, like a realtor won't understand the questions an investor will have as far as like cash on cash return percentages and stuff like that, but they're willing to tell you all the information that you need because they want to sell the property.
Yeah, they'll give you all the information you need to do your own formulas to do it. If you're an investor and you're asking a real estate agent about cash on cash returns, then shame on you. That means you don't know the numbers. But you can ask her all the information that is needed to get it. Like you're asking what's the insurance, what's the property taxes, and that is something else you will ask somebody that's an owner occupancy also to add to your list. And that could have been asked when I made the call with you is how much is the insurance payments? How much is I mean, it won't be apples to apples because the next year taxes will be a little bit higher than the previous year. The insurance might be a little bit higher depending on, different situations and different dynamics, age and financial scores and all that other stuff. But you want to get a roundabout number so you know if this property even fits in your bucket. It even fits in your bucket to even move further along. The days of jumping from house to house to house to house to house, driving around, especially at $5 gas, you go broke just in gas. You spend all your down payment money on gas, is jumping from house to house to house. Call, learn to build relationships, communicate. Just understand one thing: when you're looking to buy a house, the real estate agent is looking to sell. It's not like a used car salesman, like you walk onto the car dealership and you say, "Hey, I like this house," and they go try to shove the car down your throat because they know it's more dynamics to it. They know that it's finance companies that's involved. They know that it's about your FICO score, your debt to income ratio, and just coming into a contract. It's a little battle in itself, but then the buyer itself has their own battle with dealing with the finance company, making sure they have all the documentation, making sure they have the reserves and earnest money, and the earnest money is sent to the seller, and then also settled funds or age funds, as they want to call it, and then not being able to take money out and open up new lines of credit or lines of debt while they're in the process of buying a home, having money sitting in a savings account or a checking account for 2 months. So the real estate agent knows all this stuff has to go on. So they're not going to just try to, any willy-nilly person just try to shove a house down your throat, because they know more than likely if they have to do that, then this person don't know what they're doing or don't have the finances to get it done. So it'll be null and void for them also. Remember, real estate agents don't get paid unless they sell the house. So they're not going to waste their time trying to shove a house down somebody's throat that they know that can't buy it. So just understand that it's not like the used car salesman thing again, where they're just going to, you say, "Hey, I like this house," and the next thing you know, "Oh, mama, they forced this car on me." No, they're not going to do that. It's a real uh we call it in the military real gentleman's or gentlewoman transaction. You talk, you negotiate, you negotiate, you get information, they give information, because they want the house sold, but they want the house sold. They don't want to just be sitting there going through the song and dance, just somebody like, "Oh yeah, I want the house." It ain't like it's an auction and people bid. And I know that's how the news made it seem like during the COVID years. That's what was going on, and there was a lot of upselling and things like that. But it's the real process is not that cutthroat in normal situations.
Yeah, I see that too, because like the realtor that I'm dealing with on this property is she, like, we have a walkthrough coming up, and she said that there's another investor that's going to be on the walkthrough as well. So in that car salesman scenario, like with the used car, if it's sitting on a lot, there's new cars in production of that same model for the current year, like that's going to go out of phase and people are going to look in other ways. But I think with property, it's totally different because like the realtor knows that they're going to sell the property sooner or later, and it's just a matter of when it will sell, because everyone's always going to buy property, but everyone may not want that used car, which is why that salesman of that sort will just try to force it on you. But with the realtor,
Mhm.
they know that they're selling something of value.
Yeah, and to them, it's yeah, they're selling something of value, but they know that it ain't it ain't as easy as a used car salesman. It's not nowhere near easy. It's not as easy as a baseball salesman or somebody selling a gun at a gun show, because it's hey, yeah, I want that, and it's an easy transaction. It's yeah, I want that. Send the contract. Okay, we're under contract. Now the buyer has to go prove to the finance agency that they are equipped to take on this debt, plus everything else they have going on with their life. And that is so the realtor is not sitting there, oh my God, we got a house, because they know a lot of people can't win that battle with their financing company. So even though pre-approval letter, all that stuff is good, fine and dandy, but the real work, because it takes me right now, I can pick up the phone right now, 5 minutes from now, I can have a pre-approved letter. I mean, yeah, probably because I got relationships with people that can get it to me, but for anybody, it's not that hard. You can go online and get a pre-approval letter easy. But don't think as fast as you got that pre-approval letter, they're going to sign that loan to give you that money, because that's not how it works. They're going to do a deep dive into your financial situation. They're going to check your credit. They're going to do a hard pull on your credit. They're going to check all your credit cards. They're going to check to your debt to income ratio. They're going to see if you got credit cards or co-signed on other people's property or houses or something like that. They're going to do a deep dive. And then again, like I said, settle funds. You got to have funds sitting in an account for 2 months, just not doing nothing with it. So it's doing two things for the finance companies. Let them know that you can sit there and hold funds. But number two, you got the money, and the money just didn't come from somebody at the last minute to give you the money to say, "Oh, I got the down payment." It's showing that you actually came up with the money, or you're not doing anything on a money laundering scale or something like that. So that's the two reasons why you need settled funds when you're dealing with most financial agencies out there. That's financing for property, especially owner occupancy properties. Excuse me.
All right, guys. Thank you for watching that. If you guys have any questions or comments, leave them down below in the comment section. If you come across anything that you may want to see on another video regarding this topic, we're glad to answer it and create a whole nother session for you guys. So don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.